So, Fee and Jane, thank you so much for joining us for an Audible Sessions interview about your brand new book. Did I say that out loud? It's a pleasure to have you both. Introduce me to it.
Right, chapter heading.
Okay, so chapter headings. Hark at Her, Midlands Motels and Judging, Cathedral to Spare, that's Jane's one about Liverpool, professional scousers and hometown nostalgia. Steam Clean My Gwyneth, that's one of mine, that's about self-improvement and orgasm merchandising. Who knew that was ever going to be a phrase? I mean, back when we were young, did anyone go orgasm merchandising? That's on the cards for the future.
I'd certainly never heard of merchandising. I'm not sure I'd. Anyway, carry on.
Exactly. And then some funny one, the fetishization, can never say it, of domesticity.
You wrote it, you can't say it.
Yep, cashing in on making chores look nice. And there's a fabulous one from Jane that's called Oh Shut Up Roger, Entitlement, Chinos and Eye Tests. So that's,
Yeah, I have a thing about men in chinos, and I'm just looking. That's all right, we're fine.
What is it about the chinos?
It's men of about the same age as me who at the BBC, and I don't think it happens in other parts of the world, but they have this. I don't know what the problem is. They can't find trousers that are long enough for them. They're not even particularly tall, but they do specialise in the old.
What you're wearing?
Yes,
I'm
a lady. It's completely different.
I don't know.
No, these are not ankle swingers.
No, I think you've got to move with the times.
I've moved right with them, and that's where I'm wearing these. I'm not a man in ankle swinging chinos, and there are a lot of them. Some of them with names a little bit like Roger, at the BBC, or there have been in the past. I don't want to pin it on anybody at the moment necessarily,
but potentially still some Rogers floating around.
I think that chapter is really meant to be. Fee and I are of a generation that grew up with the expectation that we would listen to men, that men would do the talking and we would do the listening, and we wouldn't really be involved at the high level of decision making. Things have opened up, obviously, in my lifetime, our lifetime, although, as Fee is about to point out, I am 5 years older than her.
I wasn't.
You were. And sometimes it's still difficult for women of our age and younger to make themselves heard. And we all know all the stuff about men in meetings, talking over women, repeating the ideas a woman actually expressed 45 minutes ago. And then the men get the acclaim and they get the attention and the women are ignored. And it's still going on. And it was just an attempt to sort of make light of it. It's not a particularly original concept, that, although obviously I'm quite proud of it. Now it's out there. I don't want my daughters to put up with, to even begin to think they have to put up with it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm keen to make clear.
Are you hopeful? Do you both feel hopeful that things are still progressing in the right direction?
Oh, I think so. And actually, in that chapter, the Shut Up Roger chapter, which is brilliantly written by Jane. So the whole point of the book is one of us writes a chapter and the other one responds to it quite immediately as well, without going away to do lots of research, to kind of balance out that fact. So we don't do that. But my response...
Make it sound like it was easy, darling.
It was very difficult, wasn't it? It was very difficult. But my response to the Shut Up Roger is actually one of a more positive take on the world, because I don't think that the younger generation of women have quite such a kind of male edifice in front of them, actually. I think Jane and I, particularly in broadcasting, we arrived on air at a time where there was still a myth in our industry that women didn't like to hear other women's voices on air. So there was a survey done only about 15 years ago, right across the BBC and commercial radio networks, that showed only 1 in 5 voices on air were women's. So, we were there at a time where you just couldn't shut Roger up, because if you shut Roger up, there would have been silence. There wasn't anybody else in the room. And that's really changed.
Can I ask, on the kind of the other side, definitely asking for a friend, is the kind of low-level underlying anger, is that always part of being a woman? Just, just at the kind of general patriarchy?
Gosh, I hope not.
So I think if your friend is experiencing it already, because perhaps your friend's in the same ballpark of age as you are, then that's interesting, isn't it? Because I think sometimes older women think that it's been our preserve, to be slightly angry, and that surely we're angry because then we're making it better for younger women who don't need to be angry anymore. But if your friend is still feeling that kind of frisson against something, because that's what it is all the time, isn't it? You're feeling that you are against something, and that's what's tiring, infuriating, damaging, all of those things. And that's what men often don't understand. They don't understand how that would feel to have a constant kind of exfoliation going on in your life. So I would be sad if that didn't change for your friend, actually. And I think also it really only changes by men having a proper listen. I think women have been very good at listening, and then we've been very good at shouting and doing and whatever. I think men have to listen. They have to read books like this and laugh along with us and disagree and be all, be on a level with us and what we're talking about. So your friend doesn't have to feel angry. Although angry gets things done.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes anger isn't the worst emotion. But I am sorry for your friend. I think, increasingly as Fee has a daughter, I've got 2 daughters, you start to see the world through their eyes as well. And yes, I can look back to my mum's life, my grandmother's lives, and I realise the chances I have had, the extraordinary opportunities I've had in my lifetime. And it's pure fluke that I was born in 1964, allowing these opportunities to be possible for me. My daughters will have amazing opportunities too. But those, you're right, I'm afraid. The challenges, the anger, the fear. And it is fear, and it is. My youngest daughter's just started university, and she's quite a long way from home. Is she going to be? How does she get home? All of these thoughts are running through my mind.
And actually, that seems to be worse.
I think it is.
Now.
Yeah.
And so you've said obviously this isn't life advice, but do you have sort of maybe like life lessons or nuggets of wisdom that you most enjoy sharing, that you most either enjoyed putting down in the book or just like to tell people that you've learned over the years?
Oh God, yes.
What would you start with?
So I was really delighted to be able to admit my shallow vanity, that sometimes doing really nice stuff with my hair makes me feel good.
It's appalling, isn't it? Said Jane, who's just booked a colourist appointment.
Yes,
so
you're no stranger to the
No,
salon.
absolutely not, no.
I think I just enjoy being able to say, do you know what, I've really messed up in my life. If the shape it should have been is not the shape that my life has ended up being, and I was quite happy to admit that sometimes that's been quite painful, but actually by the age of 52 I'm just really still cracking along, having a good time sometimes. And the bad times, I suppose that's the absolute joy of getting older, is to be able to say, hello bad times, you'll be here for a while, but something else might turn up. I enjoyed being able to say that, and I didn't really think before I wrote the book that I knew that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I would say my kind of trademark in terms of what you might loosely call wit is self-deprecation, and it served me quite well, actually, and I'm still using it. I haven't dumped it, but I'm not sure I would advise younger women to go there.
Really?
I think I have discovered that the more seriously you take yourself, the more seriously everybody else is inclined to take you too.
But then you get things like, she's a bit boring.
Oh,
you
get that, and you get people who don't like overconfident women. We talk about that too, and in fact, I'm probably one of them. I mean, that's why I wanted to write the chapter about women judging other women, because I absolutely emphatically find myself doing it to my horror. So I've just contradicted. Well, it's a really difficult one. I wish I did have that blustering confidence of some men, and it's certainly not all men, but there are some, and they are, I'm afraid, in every generation, who are not encumbered by a shred of self-doubt, and they scorch through life. Apparently nothing touches them. There are some leading examples in British public life right now of wing it merchants who've, far from paying a price for winging it, have seemingly done rather well.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one for a lot of us to digest, really.
So tell me about the audiobook. How was that? How was narrating
That was
that?
good fun. It was in a very spooky place, wasn't it?
It was in a former prison. Yeah, in the basement.
Well, you
of a
got very
former
sort of
prison.
windy, chilly vibes from it.
I
didn't
did,
you?
but I think I'm in touch with the paranormal.
Well,
more,
yes,
more than
no.
I'd like to admit.
That's
actually.
another thing we could write about in the future, but Fee has had a few strange experiences, most of them in Bromley. So I don't, well. So the audiobook is, I was really looking forward to it because I thought, well, I can read out loud. And I was, but actually reading out loud, even when it's your own words, is significantly harder than I was expecting.
But we were glad that we got through it because it would have been so embarrassing if we couldn't do it.
If they'd had to hire other people.
Yeah.
People have actually said to me, who reads your audiobook? And I said, well, we do. Oh.
But if we do a second book, we are thinking of John Humphreys and Edward Stern.
I think that would be good. But definitely Ed. Yeah. Can he be me, please? Yeah, I think that would be better.
Over that.
But we've also, in the audiobook, we've also had there's additional content where we talk about why we felt the need to write about the things we wrote about.
Okay.
So we got a bit of chatterama.
There's a little bit of chatterama about some of the reasons, because that was another thing we didn't talk about before we wrote it. We didn't talk about what each other was going to write about.
Or why.
Yeah. No. So
that's
every
genuine.
Yeah, every Monday morning when Fee's contribution to the book, I'm going to be very generous, pinged through, I wouldn't know what it was going to be about, and which is good. It's really good, energizing fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds fun.
Yeah, because then you have to respond to it, and you think, okay. So we made each other think, which is probably no bad thing.
Would it be an awful thing to say that if I was a customer, I'd buy the audiobook? I'd buy the book as a gift to send to an aunt who lives far away. But I'd buy the audiobook because we've written a book as it sounds in our head.
Yeah.
So actually I think the audiobook is almost truer to what we said and how we said it than the book. Does that make sense?
Yes, I suppose it does.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we are practiced talkers.
No.
We've been doing it for a very long time.
But let's say we're good listeners as well.
Oh, we are good listeners. It's funny. I met a neighbour on the tube coming over this morning, and she said,
get a word?
"No, I don't know what she's up to." But so it was nice to see her. I'm sure she enjoyed talking to me. No, but I think I might have used the expression "I'm a good listener" to her, which is terrible. Believe I said that. I am not a bad listener. I'd just rather do the talking. Okay, sorry.
Well, on that wonderful note, thank you so much for coming and chatting about the book. It's a really fun read and sounds like a really fun listen. So thank you again.
That's
Thank
really
you.
kind. Thank you very much.
This lived up to my expectations, by the way.
Oh,
Just saying.
good. So